equipment tour to show you my telescope and what all the pieces in it are, how they all fit together to work. So let's get started with, I'll just run through everything in the order that I use them. So all the cables down here on the power strip are for powering different things. I just plug this white cable into an extension cord, and that's about it for my power. Everything is connected around the other side of the mount. There's just a mess of cables down here. There's another picture for that, hold on. Yeah, everything's just a mess of cables. But it's okay, because it's a somewhat organized mess. Once I plug that in, there's also some stuff over here connecting a USB port down here that connects to a 20-meter long USB active repeater cable that runs inside the house into my bedroom, plugs into my computer, and I run everything from that. So that's how I connect that. And then the next little bit, right here at the front of the mount, as it's pointed, is the pole master. Now this axis of the mount points directly at the North Star, or at least at the North Celestial Pole, about 40 arc minutes off of the pole star. And this is a little camera that allows you to, by moving the mount around the axis of this bar, rotating around this polar axis, you can see where your center of rotation is and compare that to the stars around it to figure out if you're rotating around the North Celestial Pole or not, and get yourself aligned. And that's what the pole master is for. It's an electronic polar scope that does that for you. So then I've got a main imaging scope, Celestron 8-inch Schmidt-Cassegrain telescope. Very, very nice scope. I love using it. It does great things. To any experienced astrophotographers out there, yes, this counterweight is perfectly fine. Don't worry about it. And then we have on top of it, piggybacking, a little 60mm refracting telescope that actually has a camera connected to it, and that camera is for guiding. I explain that later. But this is basically to keep this telescope locked on in its position in the night sky, and sends commands to the mount to move if it's not. And then we have a little heating band on the refractor, a larger heat shield with a heating band inside on the main imaging scope. And then let's get back to the stuff back here, the business end of my telescope, I like to call it. So we have a little piece of glass right here with these bumps on it. That's your focal reducer. And what mine does is think of it like a Barlow lens, but with a magnification factor of, in this case, 0.63. It expands your field of view, makes you use more aperture, and makes your optical system faster in general. Then you have a focus knob to focus the scope. Gonna get a motor focuser soon. Celestron just released one. I'm all hyped. Then the visual back to make everything 1.25 inches, which is the optical diameter that I choose to use with my equipment, which leads into the filter wheel. Has this cable running to it. And what that does, because my camera back here is a black and white camera, you need filters to get a color image. You need, what I do is called LRGB, astrophotography, luminance, red, green, and blue. So I have filters for red, green, and blue light, and then another filter just to grab a lot of data from an object, so that I can apply the color to that data, if that makes sense. And so to slide between the filters without me having to manually go out in the cold in the middle of the night and change the filters manually, like I used to do, I got the filter wheel, and it just automatically connects to my computer through the USB hub and knows how to move to put the filters in place when I want them there. It's really, really convenient. I love having it. And then back here, the red thingy is a ZWO ASI 183mm monochrome CMOS astronomy camera. It advertises that a planetary cam, but for deep sky, it's great. It has a lot of pattern noise, but that's just Sony sensors in general. It does great work. It's a high-resolution sensor. I'm technically oversampling with the high resolution and tiny pixel size of this camera, but I work around it with processing, and it's not a big deal for me. I like having the extra resolution. It gives me a lot of freedom when it comes to cropping my images and still being able to print them. But that's about it as far as hardware goes. So I'll see you in explaining how I use all this stuff. Hello, Grace. You asked about how I use my equipment, so here it is, running. It's 11:30 at night, and I am tired. I want to go to bed. But I gotta make sure my equipment does the stuff properly. It's gonna peer flip in 3 minutes, something odd seconds, so I gotta be here for that. Gonna show you how that works. So you wanted to know about using my equipment, so how I use it with a computer. So what I do is I use what's called Sequence Generator Pro to run my equipment, and I just create a sequence for a target. I go into this, it's in Tools, Framing and Mosaic Wizard. You just type in whatever object you want and what field of view you want, and then, like in the case of the object I'm taking a picture of right now, Bode's Galaxy, I just typed in M81, and then I just drew a box, dragged it over to center it on the galaxy the way I wanted to frame it. I could have framed it over here, but I wanted to frame it centered. And then you're done. You click OK, it creates the target. It automatically inputs where the target's located. And when it's time to run it and you run the sequence, it just connects to your equipment automatically. It's connected by USB. Got a cable running outside to my equipment. It just automatically connects the camera, filter wheel, telescope. And it actually runs the process that you're going to see here as soon as I get this next red frame. But actually, let's take a look at guiding, because that's an interesting one that I remember you wanted to know about. Ooh, getting some declination backlash. But, that's alright. So I've got a 60mm refractor attached to my main imaging scope. And it's taking exposures every 2.5 seconds. And it's looking at a field of stars that's about 58.9 by 44.2 arc minutes in size, so about a degree on this longer way, and it's looking for the stars in that image. And you can see where this box is. It's found the star that's up here in the upper right, and it's just tracking that and looking at the motion of this star. And any sort of deviation from this center point, it knows the star has moved. And before you start guiding, it does a calibration where it moves it north, south, east, and west, to figure out if it's moved slightly this way, how do I need to move it north, south, east, west, whatever, the mount, to get the star back centered. And it's just constantly running this loop to figure out what's going on. And actually you can see this graph here. So you've got these lines that are kind of bumpy, blue for RA, red for declination, the two celestial coordinates of the mount, that show its deviation from the center position, and then these vertical bars show corrections made. So blue up is west, blue down is east, red up north, red down south corrections. And that just shows you how, and this total RMS is what I look for to see how well it's guiding. It's guiding to about a bit less than a degree, which is, not a degree, sorry. Oop, it just jumped up. Had a bad RA spike. Stars, and I went down, that's why. It'll recover. It'll recover, don't worry. Ooh, and our red image is about to come in, so we're going to get ready for a peer flip. I'm going to show you how it finds its way around the night sky now. I'm just going to download the red image. Oop. So it's setting it to the luminance filter using the filter wheel, and it's capturing what's called a Platesolve frame. It's going to look at the night sky and look at the stars in it. And it's looking at the stars in the image. And what it's doing is it's estimating the background, figuring out what the stars are. And then it's looking in the sky for where this is. And it's just going to keep searching until it figures out exactly where in the sky it is, given the stars it sees. So it just goes. I don't know why I didn't get it first try. I've been spot on in this Bode's Galaxy. Unless my scope position didn't update, in which case it should be 1300 something. I'll probably skip ahead till it finds it. Come on. We're wasting time. I want to do my... Oh, it found it. So it knows where it is in the night sky. So it's now stopped the auto guider from running. and it's now slewing. It's moving the telescope physically. It's going to point at the same object, but it's going to be on the other side of the meridian so it can track more. Because eventually, if you track in right ascension past the meridian too far, then your telescope is below the counterweights, which is not good for tracking. So this is just a way of keeping the telescope vertical the entire time. So it's slewing, it's basically moving around back to where it thinks Bode's galaxy is, a flip around in both RA and deck. And as soon as it's done slewing, it'll do that plate solving process again, figure out where it is, and then move to center it right back where it was on the galaxy. And then it'll restart the autoguider and start taking pictures again. But this is exactly how it finds its way around the night sky normally. It does that plate solving image, figures out where it is, and then slews to the target. And it does that automatically. I don't need to sit here and babysit. It works just fine. I just like to do this to make sure it works. So it's slewed. Let's just see how good it is. My meridian flips vary in accuracy. Although I was getting good slewing accuracy earlier tonight, so we'll see if that carries over. Does not look like it. Alright. We're gonna be here a while it finds its way around. Once it finds its way the first time, it'll find it probably. This spiral search shows which region it's searching. It searches 3000 maximum. I have it set to. Anything above that, you're better off using a blind solver. .686, okay, and it knows where it is. And it knows the difference between where it is and where it should be. That's this difference right here. So now it's moving again to where it should be now. And then it'll just get itself centered to within 100 pixels, which is what I have set for the tolerance. I can do more precise than that, but when there's the galaxy. So it's probably going to take a 4-region plate match. 6. That was close. I don't know. And it'll just move it slightly this way to get the galaxy centered. One thing you'll notice about the stars in this image, once both these things close, is that it was flipped upside down from a meridian flip. That's just the way those work. Clear out the PhD graph, why not? And we're close. Remember that double star from before? It's up there now. But we still need to move a little bit down. Yeah, 287 pixels, sounds about right. Mostly in deck, which is the vertical direction. Sounds about right. And again, it's going to slew off, slew back on. And a few seconds here. It should center the galaxy a little better. Ooh. Closer, getting closer. Getting closer, getting better. Now it needs to move in RA more, this left-right direction. It needs to move the galaxy over that way. And it's probably going to need to move deck. The galaxy's probably a little far up. Well, it moved slightly, but it should still move a little more. Come on. Oh, did it like that center? Oh, well, it likes this, so I'm going to restart the autoguider regardless. Select the star. Calibration is needed. Is it not giving me the option to recalibrate? We'll just check our guiding. We can always force calibration if we need to. And we'll just let it guide here. 0.45, that's not going to stick. But yeah, that's about as much of the using my equipment that happens, really. Alright, see you later. Hello, folks. It's been a while since I've been here, been active. The weather's been horrid lately. Rain and clouds. and I finally got a decently clear night. Of course, it had to be the night of a supermoon, the night before a supermoon, but clouds plus night before a supermoon can't be good. But a while ago, I managed to take an image of the Whirlpool Galaxy, so I just thought I'd show that to you guys real quick. It's on my Astrobin, and I'll post a link to it. I'll show it at the end of the video. But yeah, I'm pretty proud of what I did, considering I didn't realize the last few images, I think, I haven't realized what was going on with my background until it was actually today processing this new object, Bode's Galaxy, that I finally realized what was happening with my background and how I can get rid of the dark anomalies that were causing my gradient removal to go all yonky. But there's the Whirlpool Galaxy. And I wanted to show you actually my own secret to processing these images, because I do it a little differently than what I've seen anywhere else. Maybe I'll post this on cloudy nights, see if anyone else does it this way, but my personal way of processing images is a little bit different. I like to do kind of an adaptive learning with my processing. A lot of people, they do their LRGB combine, and they'll just work with that, apply different changes until it looks right, but I don't do that. I do a little bit of processing, and then I start over, and I use what I learned from the last one to know how to get the image looking better each time. And I'll show you here what I mean. This is Bode's Galaxy. It doesn't look too great. There's not a lot of detail. It blends into the background too much. It's not very sharp. And you can kind of see, especially down in the lower right here, there's this purple glow in the background. And so what I do with my processing is I just do a very basic, and I mean a very, very basic workflow. OBS doesn't like to work with running StarTools at the same time, so I couldn't get a recording of it. I guess I could really push it if I had enough time, if you guys really wanted to see that, but I just opened it up using StarTools LRGB, combined it, cropped off the stacking artifacts around the edges, and then I took it in, applied some digital development, what other users like Photoshop and PixInsight would call a histogram and curves. It's kind of both in one in StarTools. Makes things very nice and streamlined. Then I used the filter module to nudge some of the galaxy up and brighten it. I'm sorry, I skipped gradient removal after I cropped it. I did a gradient removal, but there were some dark anomalies causing this brightness here. But that's something I learned from the first process. I just did a bare bones process, did a basic noise reduction, not a very thorough one, as you can tell by all the grain. But I learned that I needed to do a heavier noise reduction, that the background was yonky, and I saw what the colors looked like in a straight combine, so that if I wanted to adjust the colors any, I'd know what I'd be working with, what kind of star colors I was getting, how I'd want to balance that if I was to work with that. And then I just keep going. This is my first iteration, and then I'll show you, I'm not going to show you every in-between, but I'll show you my 7th and final iteration. It's cropped slightly differently. I rotated it a bit. I like the color better, personally. The stars, I still haven't mastered working with stars. They're about the same, bloated and crazy. Some of these closer ones together kind of blend in, and there's this halo around them. I don't really know how to work with stars yet. That's something I'm still learning. If anyone's a StarTools user and they know how to fix my stars, that'd be a real gift if you could leave a comment telling me what I'm doing wrong. But I'll actually zoom in on the galaxy a little bit so you can see. Whoa. So this is 4 hours and something minutes of data gathered. I tried running decon on it at some point in the process, and it just was not liking it at all, so I just decided to screw it, no decon. But I still really do like the way it turned out. And it's not, perfect. The stars aren't perfect, but I feel like there's a good amount of star color around the edges of them, which is the way I like it. I like a white star with color around it, so success for me. At least I like white stars in an image. although I don't like them looking quite this bloated. There are some artifacts, of course, halos in the stars, whatever this thing is on this double star out here I wanted to show you. The center of the galaxy kind of looks weird, but I just wanted to tone it down a bit. I felt like this looked better. But, yeah, that's about it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.